Welcome, age of vintage society. Tab Hunter, the tall, blonde, blue-eyed movie star who, as a teenage idol in the 1950s, was one of the last products of the Hollywood studio system, and who made an unlikely comeback in a very un-Hollywood film when he was almost 50. Why was Tab Hunter's career almost ruined by his own agent? Make sure to watch the video until the end and leave your thoughts in the comments. If you are new here, join our wonderful community by subscribing to the Age of Vintage channel. 6 feet of rugged manhood to stir the heart of every woman. With his blonde hair, blue eyes and his tanned California good looks, it's easy to understand how Arthur Clem transformed into Tab Hunter, one of the leading heartthrobs of the 1950s and 60s. Famous for playing romantic leads on-screen, the leading man lived a lie off-screen. When Tab Hunter was at the apex of his stardom in the 50s, virtually every aspect of his career and life was under the control of a Hollywood studio system that determined everything from the roles that he would play to his very name. As a result of this, he had a few years of fame before he was inevitably pushed to the side for a new wave of hot young things ready to take his place, and yet it was the very things about him that the system sought to repress, such as sly, self-effacing sense of humour, that helped breathe new life into his career a couple of decades down the line. Dreamy Tab Hunter stood out in film history as one of the hottest teen idols of the 1950s era. With blonde, tanned, surfer boy good looks, he was artificially groomed and nicknamed the Psy Guy by the Hollywood studio system, yet managed to continue his career long after his golden boy prime. Tab Hunter was the embodiment of youthful American masculinity, good-looking, impossibly square-jawed, and blonde. Tab was the very picture of the all-American boy, the wholesome or shucks matinee idol answer to his contemporary James Dean's Dangerous Rebel. He was the shy guy in Battle Cry in 1955, the eager slugger in 1958's Damn Yankees, and the romantic lead opposite stars like Natalie Wood and Sophia Loren. He went on highly publicised dates with starlets like Debbie Reynolds, and had a chart-topping single called Young Love that prompted Jack Warner to create Warner Records just so Warner Brothers could monetize his charming voice. Hunter was born Arthur Kelm on July 11, 1931 in New York City to Gertrude Gellion and Charles Kelm. His father was Jewish and his mother was a German immigrant who, after divorcing his abusive father, moved Tab and his brother from New York City to California. Hunter's mesmerizing beauty notwithstanding, he started off on a conventional path. Leaving school and joining the Coast Guard at age 15, he lied about his age, and worked the counter at an Orange Julius. He was eventually discharged when the age deception was revealed. Returning home, his lifelong passion for horseback riding led to a job with a riding academy. There he was discovered. Hunter's fetching handsomeness and trim athletic physique eventually steered the Californian toward the idea of acting. When Hunter was 12, he met the person who would set him on the path for acting, then actor Dick Clayton, who was doing a photo shoot for a movie magazine at the Riding Academy where Hunter worked as a stable boy. Clayton told Hunter to look him up if he ever wanted to get into acting. A remarkably handsome young boy, still a teenager, gets discovered by a big-time movie agent, because when he takes his shirt off, young hearts beat faster, because he is the picture of innocence and trust and need. He will become a star. It seems almost preordained. The open smile says, "You will love me," and soon the whole world does. Hunter's first big romantic lead was opposite Linda Darnell in the 1952 film Island of Desire. Often cast as a Marine, as an Air Force pilot, or in another military role, Hunter did his duty performing steamy kiss scenes with a lineup of Hollywood bombshells. He first gained notice for being shirtless in Island of Desire, a film about two castaways with a plot semi-similar to The Blue Lagoon, and just about as reputable. Dick Clayton introduced Hunter to an agent named Henry Wilson. Wilson was a Hollywood kingmaker known for representing muscular, pretty boys. It would be 2 years before Hunter would get his first quality credit in support of Robert Mitchum in William Wellman's western Track of the Cat. A year later he was in the largely forgotten but huge hit at the time Battle Cry, in which he could be seen holding his own on-screen with the likes of Van Heflin, Aldo Ray, James Whitmore, Anne Francis, Dorothy Malone, and Raymond Massey. With Wilson's help, Hunter landed a 7-year contract with Warner Brothers. His acting career had finally begun, and with Hollywood fame came nosy gossip hounds. It didn't take long for Hunter to weather his first Hollywood scandal. In October 1950, Hunter was arrested for attending a pajama party in Beverly Hills. Unfortunately, the press covered the event, with the article nearly ruining Hunter's rising career. At the time, Hunter got out of the mess by claiming that he didn't know what kind of party it was. Playing dumb worked for a while. Hunter got the charges reduced, but the scandal wasn't over. It took 9 intense screen tests for Hunter to secure the role of the heroic Marine Danny in the 1955 film Battle Cry, but the effort was well worth it. Hunter somehow managed to beat out A-listers such as Paul Newman and James Dean and booked the coveted role. At the time, Hunter was far down on the totem pole. That was the Warner Brothers talent pool, but after this victory he didn't stay at the bottom for long. Not long after, in addition to his film roles, Hunter began a singing career. His version of the song Young Love spent 4 weeks as the top song in the country in 1957. Jack Warner was livid that Hunter recorded the hit song with Dot Records and not with Warner Brothers. His anger, however, was deeply misguided. At the time, Warner Brothers didn't even have a record label. In the end, Hunter's unexpected musical success led Warner to create Warner Brothers Records. Though none of Hunter's other songs were quite as big as his smash debut, his brief recording career did lead to one of his most memorable roles. His career continued to thrive throughout the late 1950s with an Emmy-nominated role as a killer in a Playhouse 90 television production, Portrait of a Murderer. In 1955, Hunter's arrest from 5 years earlier nearly came back to destroy his career, just as it was finally taking off. The ironically named tabloid Confidential leaked the fact that Warner Brothers' new star had been caught red-handed at a suspiciously all-male sleepover party. But here's the kicker. The person who told Confidential about the soiree was none other than Henry Wilson, Hunter's own agent. Why would Wilson risk ruining his own client's career? According to Hollywood historians, he probably did it to distract the presses from rumours that would have hurt his other big-ticket actor, Rock Hudson. In 1955, rumours about Hudson's own sexuality were beginning to spread. Desperate, Wilson may have thrown Hunter under the bus to protect his other client. Thanks to his breakout performance in Battle Cry, Hunter solidified his status as the hot new heartthrob. Girls all around the world dreamt of kissing the young star in their bedrooms, and in February 1956 he received 62,000 valentines, which must have been a record. Little could they have guessed that his romantic leading man persona was a facade. Warner Brothers invested a lot of money in Hunter's leading man image, and Hunter understood that for the sake of his career he had to keep up appearances. In public he kept up his end of the bargain. He fake-dated Debbie Reynolds and took Natalie Wood to the Oscars to make sure he maintained that image. Behind the scenes, however, his dates couldn't have been more different. Hunter may not have been romantically interested in the pretty young co-stars Warner arranged for him to date, but that didn't mean he didn't enjoy their company. He would take the women to parties, nightclubs and movie premieres. They never questioned why he didn't come onto them, because as Debbie Reynolds once said, Hunter wasn't on the make, and women like that. Of all the women that Hunter spent time with, his favourite was Natalie Wood, whom he loved like a younger sister. Dating Hunter also provided a convenient cover story for Wood, who was secretly dating someone else. As Hunter explained, once the press had their fill, they'd quietly sneak out of the back door, and she'd go meet Dennis Hopper, and he'd go meet his date. His studio-manufactured romance with Natalie Wood led to a clever nickname. Insiders called the faux couple Natalie Wood and Tab Wouldn't. When Hunter met Psycho star Anthony Perkins at Los Angeles' Chateau Marmont pool, Hunter already admired the other actor's work. They started talking and realised they had a lot in common. Both were actors on the rise in Hollywood, and soon enough they started a romantic relationship. If Warner Brothers knew about their romance, they didn't say so to Hunter, but Paramount, where Perkins worked, made it clear that they were not fans of the new couple. The studio executives at Paramount had strict policies regarding same-sex relationships. They told Perkins that they didn't want him to see Hunter anymore. Hunter and Perkins ignored their demands and privately continued their romance, but the good times would soon come to an end. Perkins would seriously damage their relationship with a classic Hollywood betrayal. When Hunter was dating Perkins, if they wanted to go to the movies, they would either wear baseball caps as a disguise, or they'd arrive at the cinema at separate times and meet up in the specific theatre. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it helped keep the rumour mill from spinning out of control. Unfortunately, their happiness didn't last. For Perkins, career mattered more than anything. Hunter quickly realised that he would always come in second to Perkins' ambition. At the height of Hunter's career, his personal life reached its lowest point. His mother began to struggle with mental health issues and, on one car ride through Los Angeles, became nearly catatonic. Desperate, Hunter decided to place her in an asylum where she received painful rounds of electroshock treatment. In his memoir, Hunter describes that decision as one of the worst moments of his life. Hunter really hated labels of any kind, but they were especially unavoidable in Hollywood. Studio executives and Hollywood reporters called him the Sigh Guy and Swoon Bait, while Warner Brothers seemed determined to typecast him in boy-next-door roles. He became more and more frustrated as the days passed, and eventually he lashed out. Hunter wanted to be a serious actor and tired of playing fluffy roles. He decided to buy out his Warner Brothers contract and attempt to be a star on his own terms. Sadly, this proved to be the wrong decision. The studio immediately replaced him with Troy Donahue, a younger blonde heartthrob. Hunter had to watch as Donahue became a star. Meanwhile, Hunter was struggling to climb out of his clean-cut image. Hunter's freelance career never really took off, but a phone call from the cult filmmaker John Waters pulled him back from obscurity. Waters offered Hunter a role in his risky new film, Polyester. The part paired Hunter with the legendary drag queen Divine. When asked how he'd feel about kissing her, Hunter replied, "Well, I'm sure I've kissed a lot worse." Against all odds, the movie was a success. Hunter had so much fun filming Polyester that he helped get the funding for the 1985 follow-up flick Lust in the Dust. The film proved fruitful both on-screen and off. During production, Hunter met his future business partner and love, Alan Glazer. Hunter was always athletic, and that's why his sudden demise at 86 was such a shock to his partner Glazer. According to Glazer, Hunter seemed more like 60 than 86, but a heart attack caused by a blood clot led him to his collapse. The Hollywood icon, who previously survived a stroke and a heart attack, eventually passed away a few days shy of his 87th birthday. At least Glazer and Hunter enjoyed many happy years together. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new here, and if you want to support my work, please visit my Patreon page. Now it is your turn. What do you think about the life and legacy of Tab Hunter? It was very difficult for Tab to live his own life back then because of the Hollywood studio system.